Reports from the northwestern Nigerian state of Zamfara say motorbike riding gunmen have killed dozens of people and burnt down a number of homes in a series of raids targeting remote villages. A police spokesperson confirmed the attacks but couldn't give any casualty figures. Residents say they counted more than 50 bodies. Some of the victims are said to be people displaced by previous attacks, now returning home to prepare their farmlands as the rainy season begins.
A meeting of northern governors with President Muhammadu Buhari has taken place in Abuja. It was held because of the security situation in the region. The governors are trying to find lasting solutions to the rising wave of banditry and criminality and are seeking the support of the federal government. The chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, Simon Lalong, says the meeting was very fruitful.
This meeting is in respect of some of the common features of insecurity that we have within our state. You recall that many of the states have some of the insecurities that are very similar. So within us here, we have a lot of them that are similar. We put them together on how to address some of those issues. And we felt that we must also meet Mr. President about it. It's about the insecurity. I think they are not disclosed because these are security, but the takeaway will say that the meeting with the President was very fruitful, and we are also very committed, and we have seen a lot of commitments, so we're waiting for the implementation. Well, you will see what will happen. I think that's the assurance I will give you, because based on this meeting, we will also wait to see the commitment. And Mr. President has given us that assurance.
State Governor there, Simon Lalong. Well, joining us now is the country's top security and defense analyst, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who is also the founder and CEO of the security firm Beacon Consulting. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. All right, another attack on Kaduna State and, of course, Zamfara. The Zamfara situation, we don't even know the numbers. They are conflicting. Some say over 50. That's eyewitnesses. Some say over 80. But with the level of atrocities that's been going on with kidnapping, terrorism, and all of that, all across the country, there is that problem. No arrests, no prosecutions being made. Is this fueling these attacks?
Good evening, Ngozi and Kay. Yes, one of the factors that we have identified as the reasons for the growing insecurity is the failure of the criminal justice system to arrest and punish offenders. But it's not the only reason. There are several other reasons. I mean, one of the greatest factors that, for me, requires urgent attention is the seeming desire of these non-state actors and whoever is backing them to challenge the authority of the state. And in other words, tell the state clearly that that monopoly of violence or use of force that every sovereign country should have, it's no longer tenable. And so you have non-state actors that are also able to exercise some form of control and influence. In the case of Zamfara State, we are told that they went to the villages and told the villages that you cannot farm this farming season. I mean, think about it. What audacity, what kind of courage, what confidence would these non-state actors have that they can tell villagers that, and then not only do that, appear to be successful in doing that. So there are a multitude of factors, including this inability of the criminal justice system to arrest and punish offenders.
Dr. Adamu, it's quite disturbing that this is happening at this point in time. But the question on the lips of a lot of people, both online and offline, is how difficult is it to find human beings that are said to be bandits and criminals? How difficult is it to find some of them and arrest them? They're not ghosts.
Kay, I mentioned that these guys are challenging the authority of the state. Say I don't want to paint a gloomy picture, but then I'm a professional and I study this, and sometimes we need to say the brutal truth. I just concluded a study, a research, a survey, and I came up with my consultancy concluded that we came up with a figure of the small arms and light weapons in circulation in Nigeria to be about 6.5 million. I know this is sometimes it can be an estimate, but we used a lot of factors to come to this figure, which appears to us to be the most verifiable. Now, the point I want to make is this. We also went ahead to establish how many of this 6.5 million are in the hands of our security agencies. And we established that there are 586,000 in the hands of our security agencies. Now, what it means is that there are over 5 million in the hands of these non-state actors. And that is your answer. They have the audacity to challenge the authority of the state because they are in possession of these weapons. And they have tried over a period of about a decade targeting and attacking sometimes rural populace and sometimes security formations, and not only doing it successfully, but showing an ability that is very worrisome, like you've mentioned. The other point is the so-called ungoverned spaces where these groups are hiding. Till date, we've not heard of a credible strategy to dominate this forest and stop these bad guys from using this forest to launch their attacks on innocent citizens. So as long as these two things remain, unfortunately, these guys will continue to have the audacity to attack the state and challenge that sovereign authority of the state like they're doing currently.
There seems to be a major challenge with stopping these weapons from coming into Nigeria and apprehending these sponsors, these people behind these terrorists. Are you concerned about reports that there is a likelihood or possibility of people within the government, this present government, actually sympathizing with terrorists? I'd like you to address that. And then again, what strategy would you say the government needs to come up with, especially when it comes to taking these people out in the forests? There's the issue of collateral damage. How do you work around that?
Thank you, Ngozi. The first question you asked me is a Pandora's box. Frankly, for the sake of the unity of our country, I think it's an issue that perhaps government would need to take a policy. And by that, I mean if someone is a member of a religious body and has expressed strong views about that religious ideology or belief that he has, should he be appointed? We have officials that are members of churches and that profess the teachings of those churches. We have members of this government and previous government that are members of mosques and that have professed the ideology. I think it would be unfair to single out perhaps one or two individuals. I think what I would recommend is a national policy that would address this squarely and perhaps lay this matter to rest. Again, I say it's a Pandora's box. If we open it, the consequences may not augur too well for us as a country. The second point, that with regards to your question, what do we do? You mentioned collateral damage. Most of these forests belong to the state governments. Now, there are facilities in terms of grants and loans that are out there in multilateral bodies. One of them is the Commonwealth, and I studied this extensively. I even attempted to link up certain government officials with these grants and facilities by the Commonwealth. Excuse me. What they can do is to access those grants and facilities and then use novel means, including economic and sometimes environmental means, to dominate those forests, including recruiting what I'll call forest guards. There are about 33% of Nigerians are unemployed. So if you bring up these novel means, secure these grants, you can come up with, like I said, environmental or economic means to push certain individuals into those forests, either as forest guards or somewhat other economic ventures. We can use this forest for economic benefits as against leaving them to be dominated by these guys. That's number one. Number two is also security. Irrespective of what approach we use, we need to secure those forests, and we can use a combination of technology as well as human resources to dominate those forests and prevent them from usage by these bad guys. So it has to be a combination of both federal and state government effort to dominate this forest. But what is absolutely necessary is that we cannot allow those ungoverned spaces, those forests, to remain as haven for these gunmen.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Thank you very much for your thoughts and opinions.